Welcome back to Fox Eyes on the Hill Live this Sunday morning. You know, on Tuesday, the D.C. Council is going to vote on the Secure D.C. Omnibus Bill. This is a comprehensive package put forth by D.C. Council member and Judiciary and Public Safety Chair Brooke Pinto. Chair Pinto joins us this morning. There's a lot in this bill. The legislation has nearly 100 measures, among them creating harsher sentences for repeat offenders and amending the city's carjacking law. Ward 2 Council member Brooke Pinto joins us live this morning to break down the bill and the funding for it. We thank you for being here. At the heart of this, is this an acknowledgement that in previous efforts to water down penalties, that the D.C. Council in the past may have gone too far?
Well, look, the law is an iterative process. I have a responsibility, as do all of my colleagues, to be responsive to what we're hearing from D.C. residents, businesses, and visitors about what they want to see, which is essentially a safe and secure city. And everybody deserves that level of safety. And so Secure DC is a comprehensive public safety omnibus bill with over 100 different targeted solutions and interventions that respond to that crisis and really seek to accomplish three primary goals: prevention, accountability, and improved government coordination.
I want to show some of this, and let's go through some of these points. They're up here. When you talk about accountability, you're talking about what these people are facing when they commit these crimes. That there was not a sense on the street that if I do this and I get caught, that I'm going to be punished. So does there have to be a standard of consequence for people committing crimes?
Yes. We know, and study after study tells us, that swiftness and certainty of getting caught is a deterrent to crime. And so Secure DC does a number of things, creating new levels of firearm offenses, for instance, to go after the unacceptable levels of gun violence that are plaguing our communities right now, changes definitions to things like carjacking to empower our prosecutor to bring more of these cases. And so again, we sought to study the system, look at where the gaps are, and fill those gaps to make sure that there can be sufficient accountability. One
of the loopholes you found was on carjacking, which dominated the headlines here at Fox 5 for a full year. You had almost 1,000 last year. What was wrong with how carjacking was defined? Because it seems pretty obvious. You stick a gun in somebody's face, you take their car, that's carjacking. But it turned out the way the law was written wasn't exactly that.
So it was the way the law was interpreted by our D.C. Court of Appeals. They interpreted that it is only carjacking if your car is taken from your immediate possession, which was interpreted to be literally in your car. Yeah. So an instance of being right outside your car, filling your car with gas, that's still carjacking to the victim. Yeah. If somebody put a gun in their head and said, "Give me your car." But in the law, those cases weren't able to prosecuted as carjacking, and so Secure DC fixes that issue.
I want to show this as well too. Part of this is looking at how the government, the police, are able to do their jobs. And one of the complaints we had heard from the police for quite a while was that they say they were being restricted from doing their jobs, whether it came to pursuits, whether it came to how they handle body cameras. What does this say to the DC police officer about how they're now able to go out and do their job and keep the community safe?
So the DC Police Department, the Metropolitan Police Department, are excellent partners for us in the city, and they are wonderful public servants who are doing really important work, and they have been a big part of the Secure DC process to figure out where those gaps are. So Secure DC changes the language around vehicular pursuits. We had one of the toughest bans in the country around vehicular pursuits, for instance.
Police couldn't follow somebody. They couldn't pursue them.
Right, and so we changed that to ensure that if there is an imminent threat to public safety, a vehicular pursuit can be made.
Now, you know there are people in this city who are saying, well, now, are the police going to go too far?
So one of the things I worry about when it comes to public safety is this huge pendulum swing that tends to happen over time. And we can see this throughout history, whether it's in DC or American history writ large. I don't want to engage that way. I want to right-size our public safety ecosystem so that we can ensure safety and security. There are a number of things that we will continue to do to hold the police accountable.
Some of the members of the D.C. Council who were involved in rewriting that criminal code are still on this council. Do you have support for this bill when you bring it forward this week?
I am very pleased that Mayor Bowser is fervently in support of Secure DC and stands behind it. I have worked with all of my colleagues throughout this process. My hope and expectation is that we will be able to pass Secure DC because I know my colleagues like me hear from residents every day that are sick and tired of this crime and violence.
It's an important story, perhaps one of the most important pieces of legislation we're going to cover here in this early new year of 2024. Councilmember Brooke Pinto joining us live this morning. We hope you come back and, we talk about how this goes through the process and matures and actually may be implemented at some point in the future.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.